Instead of attempting to prove anything, I booked a table for 8 at Lattice, because for once, I wanted the evening to feel purposefully joyous, not due to any significant accomplishment or milestone, but simply because it was mine. Gave indications weeks in advance. I didn't want my birthday to be forgotten, like a blip on someone else's calendar. I even posted it in the family group chat ahead of time. This year, Lattice was my treat. Let's make it a memorable one, I wrote. Marble nodded when I reminded her. Twice. Once before breakfast and once before she left for work 3 days ago. Her default mode lately had been distracted, but agreeable. So I wore the white shirt she used to adore, pressed, faint gray. I had skipped lunch and gotten a haircut that afternoon. I was truly craving the mushroom risotto. I had already made up my mind. I arrived 10 minutes early. The hostess, perhaps trying to understand the dynamics of a table for 8, gave me a smile that lasted just a little too long. Linen-draped seats, wine glasses already prepared. A celebration? She asked. Birthday? I replied with a practiced smile. She nodded and left before I could explain it wasn't going to be a party. At first, I only saw the people who ought to have been there. Jonas, who usually brought enthusiasm to the front entry, even if he was always late, arrived early in my imagination and made fun of it. I could already hear their teasing before my parents had even entered. Gloria and Russell were always on time, and if Gloria arrived wearing pearls, I'd know she took it seriously. She would have. But then the messages began. The first was soft. I promise I was on my way down, from Jonas's buddy. A big client called. Emergency. Remodel. I'll make it up to you this weekend. I just locked my phone and placed it face down. 5 minutes later, Theo, the sitter. Last minute, man. You know how it is. Call me tomorrow. We'll toast. What was I supposed to do? I knew how it is. Then my phone buzzed again. I turned it over, hoping, instead of Aaron, my darling, it was my parents. We've had a long day. Your father's knee is acting up again. Let's do something next week. My mother's text carried her usual voice. Apologetic, yet firm in disappointment. I took a sip of water. The jazz hummed around the restaurant. The empty chairs hummed louder. Couples leaned in. Quiet laughter. Wine bottles popped nearby. I gestured for the server. A glass of house red, please. My table remained unchanged. 8 seats. Only one occupied. 10 minutes passed. I had already begun tasting the coldness of Mirabelle's embrace from that morning. The void between my last 2 texts lingered in my bones, and then her message arrived. Let's enjoy another day. Happy birthday. That was it. No explanation. No contact. I read it twice. Then again, I blinked rapidly, willing myself to feel the sting completely, and then I smiled, the kind of smile that felt pitiful in your bones. I was the man who reserved 8 chairs for ghosts. The waiter returned with my wine. Would you like to wait a bit longer? There was pity in his tone, enough to make it worse. I looked at the empty seats and murmured, No. Let's go. Ahead. I asked for the risotto, told him to bring the bourbon chocolate cake, too. Added the sea bass, to make it feel like I wasn't just settling. He asked if I wanted one candle. Just one, I said. I poured my wine, raised my glass, to each empty one around the table. A silent, sarcastic toast. To the family. To the friends. To the ones who always have better things to do. The wine was warm and bitter, the kind that stuck to your teeth. When the risotto arrived, it was good. So good I hardly tasted it. I chewed mechanically. Each time someone entered the restaurant, I looked up, hopeful. Maybe I had been too quiet lately, too dull. Maybe Marble was right when she said I couldn't surprise her anymore. The cake came with a single candle flickering, unsure whether to offer light or hold on. The recognition felt like too much to ask for. The waiter nodded and stepped away. I leaned back, stared at the flame. I didn't make a wish. Instead, I let the silence soak in. Not tragic, not dramatic, just lonely. Then a sound. A different sound. A trumpet. Raw, piercing, beautiful. It wasn't background music, not from the overhead speakers. Not part of the curated jazz playlist I'd already tuned out. It cut through the room. A confession, not a performance. I looked up. There she was, standing by the bar. A woman. My age, maybe. In a flowing navy coat. Eyes closed, the notes curled around the room. People paused mid-conversation, even though the music wasn't lively. I couldn't look away. The melody drifted, thoughtful, sad. I didn't recognize it, but I felt it, like a memory I hadn't known I lost. She finished, held the mic, and said, "This one's for you." "Happy birthday, Aaron Leeds, wherever you are." Under my chair, it felt like the world cracked open. She continued, "Not some generic birthday boy, not Table 7's gentleman, Aaron Leeds." As if she knew exactly how the evening had turned out, as if she had read the notes, seen the empty chairs. I laughed to myself, looked around. No one else reacted. A couple glanced. The waiter watched. I didn't move, just stared at her. She wasn't searching for applause. Her eyes found mine, and stayed there. She held my gaze like we were in mid-conversation, told the truth, the kind no one wants to hear. She ended the song. A single lingering note. I had barely extinguished the candle when she stepped off the riser, trumpet lowered. She walked calmly, purposefully, never breaking eye contact. "Room for one more?" she asked. I blinked, then nodded, slow and unsure. She sat like she'd always belonged at that table. Placed her trumpet case on the seat next to her. No introduction, no explanation, just presence. She touched her water glass gently to the table. I leaned in. How did you know my name?" She smiled faintly. "Let's just say someone thought you deserved a proper birthday." For 40 minutes I had felt invisible. Now a stranger called my name aloud. I glanced at the trumpet case. "You're not part of the restaurant's band, are you?" I asked. She laughed, easy and calm. "No, not on the menu either." I smiled. "The music was beautiful." "It was yours," she said. My throat tightened again. The waiter returned, blinking. At the unexpected